an ideal price for both the work you do as well as the services you're paying for. And so with blockchain, these currencies, or the blockchains enabling these digital currencies, like, they almost all end up being camps that people can plant their flag in. And you, I think you just said it earlier, get good, around, like, tribalism in this space. But to your point, like, interoperability means we all put our faith in the coin we like best, but we can still all speak the same language, and ultimately there's something we can, I guess we can have, I don't know. I've
Well,
lost my thought at this point, but
no, I get it. A good way to make it is like it's kind of like AOL back in the day, and then there was like the other, like, internet providers you had to use to get dial-up. I had to use, a lot of people use Netscape, or
Mm-hmm.
there was all kinds of random ones you could have, but AOL was the popular one. It was almost like the iPhone of internet back then, and but naturally there had to be a
exactly.
way for all these networks to communicate with each other and work together, and communicate with the websites, and you know that's what really changed the internet. To this, to what it is now.
Yeah, you used to have to jump through hoops and ladders to do simple things you can do now, like call overseas or text overseas. Now you can just use like overarching technologies like WhatsApp or something like that, which kind of stepped above the old broadband companies.
Yeah, that's like like old ARPANET kind of style. That's essentially how the internet started. And it evolved into different networks after that, and then after a while they were like, how are we going to get all these networks to communicate with each other, kind of like how we are right now in crypto.
Yeah, and you have to jump through hoops and ladders to do things between chains right now. It definitely reminds me of that time. Also, when like uh, phones were just starting to go from like bigger to smaller, and it's interesting how things just become simpler for
It
everybody
really
at one
does.
point.
Like, I just got back from Mexico, and like before I went, I was like trying to make sure like my phone would work over there, in case I needed it, or I wanted to be able to look at all my crypto and the charts, and be able, if I had to, be able to communicate with you guys. But then when I looked, they're like, oh, if you're in Mexico, it's no problem,
Hmm.
and like no data roaming charges, nothing now. And I'm sure as time goes on,
Oh, I lost you. But I think you're right. As time goes on, those lines between are gonna fade away.
Especially in DeFi, and there will be something that will just allow us to move between chains, positively.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Jack Dorsey DeFi on Bitcoin tweet? What do y'all think of that?
Yeah, he's making some waves this week, huh? What's his thing? Square.
Hmm.
yeah,
What?
Square's huge on some Bitcoin, man.
Mm-hmm. I think we need folks like that. I think we need some mainstream stuff like that. The more Robin Hoods and PayPal's and Squares we get in there, the better it is for us. The more we get I Trust Capitals who will let us do 401k and Roth IRAs, the better it is. The more of those we get, the better, because it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Rising tides raise all ships, right? So that stuff feels mainstream, and it feels like it's meant for a lay person. I like those interfaces that are less complex, easy to use. Barrier to entry is very low.
Mm.
I think that's good for everybody. That's why Algodex, super low barrier. Like once it gets up and running, it'll be fairly easy to use, much easier than some of the ways you got to go. Getting some Yieldly now, or even buying NFTs, right? Algodex has got some NFT functions to it, which are really sweet. I'm looking forwards to, rather than trying to buy, some Opulus, NFTs. They've got, it's cool right now, but imagine there's a secondary market for that. It would make it easier. Anything like that is, it's a boon for all of
I
us.
actually have I actually have a friend building a auction house for NFTs right now on Algo.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've been trying to dip my
Very
toe
cool.
into that world for the last, I don't know, 10 days, week and a half. I've really kind of been studying it. I've wanted to longer than that, but I'm just amazed by that technology and what's going to come from it. And Silvio did that half-hour meeting at Christie's and really mainly talked about NFTs and his thoughts on that interoperability that we were kind of mentioning earlier. How if you create an NFT on Ethereum, what if somebody what if you want to transfer it over to an Algorand blockchain at some point in time? How do you wrap an NFT kind of a thing? And is that duplicating? Does it get destroyed? Does the old one get burned? Is it still the original? That is all very interesting.
And especially like the more interoperability we offer, the more of these yield farmers will come and leverage more in our networks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to want to move it depending on which network offers the best yield, and depending on how popular we get, the less yield we get. So they're going to want to move it over until it gets less popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So it just opens the doors. It kind of kicks them wide open, I think.
And then the technical advantages are just speaking for themselves. So it's kind of just a matter of time. But the question is, who's really going to come first? Who's going to be the first? Maybe it'll be PayPal. There's got to be some big company that's going to announce a partnership with Algorand eventually.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Oh,
who's it going to be though? Right? And when's that going to happen? I don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball. Right?
well, it's like we always talk about if and when, but it's the thing is it's gonna bound to happen. Our technology is it's just too damn good compared to the rest of the market, and especially when we're talking about real estate and everything else, because no one's gonna want to fork their real estate. It's just simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm 100% with you right there. Nobody's gonna want to fork their real estate. I love the real estate stuff. Are you guys into any of this fractionalized ownership in any way, shape, or form yet?
Not yet, personally, for me. I'm waiting for the real crypto bear market, and then I'm also waiting for this real estate market to die. But when it does, I'm going heavy, like mad heavy on it. That and gold.
Yeah. Yeah. The part of me is concerned that some of the real estate stuff is overinflated now, and I feel in my bones in the next 24 months, the real estate's going to have a drawback. But at the same time, if the timing is right for me, if I've got the liquidity now and I can invest in some investment properties specifically, I think long-term investment properties are still a good vehicle. And if I can combine crypto with investments and the barrier to entry to those is low, especially in some of these like commercial style, fractional ownership, it's almost like a REIT, but through crypto. And I think that exchange is interesting. I'm not sure how they're going to do it and what model is going to be successful, long term. They've got a couple that just accept algo and they basically convert it to fiat. You got one that accepts algo and they collateralize it for you. It's almost like they give you a loan on your algo to invest in real estate. We got another one that really just uses it like an ASA to as a bookkeeping method to keep track of your investment. So they're using it in various ways, and they're all interesting. Maybe one of them will combine all of them. I would like to see the Algorand blockchain itself used in a more comprehensive way to keep track of ownership, not just as bookkeeping. But it's interesting, and especially title work like NFT stuff. I think is good.
Well, for crypto, real estate is so new. I imagine as time goes on, even after a couple of years, it's going to be more perfected. It's going to be way more polished, and it's just going to be a way better experience. I mean, even right now with the Lofty, I'm amazed by it. I'm just more waiting for an opportunistic moment, in the real estate market right now. I'm waiting for materials. So, I'm waiting for a 2x4 not to be $8 right now before I start investing in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I think there's some speculative growth potential there too, especially if you whether it's a disruptor to an Airbnb or Airbnb, I know there's a bunch of private equity firms right now buying single-family households in a lot of nicer areas.
No, it's beyond crazy how much Wall Street is buying real estate
Yeah.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the hotel model of the future is not a building in the center of your city. It's Hyatt has this house on this street in this town. Would you like to stay there? And it's all backed by a major chain. And if you extrapolate the things going on for like Loft, and some of these other providers, giving folks fractional ownership out of like a private equity firm that's then going to flip that and use it as essentially like hotel space, that would pique my interest a bit more as well. So I think it's all early.
Yeah, it's all still early. I imagine like that's why probably Lofty only has like a few properties on there right now. I bet after a nice real estate crash, we'll watch some really nice properties, if not more diversification, come onto their thing. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're just waiting for the opportunity as well too. To buy and then give us some fractional real estate. They might even throw some in escrow. Do whatever they have to do to make their side more profitable and make it better for us. But I bet right now they're just buying a few properties right now just to kind of test it out. Get the mainnet launched, get us all excited about it. And
I think
as time goes on,
sold out relatively quickly, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is more just like I imagine this is more of a test for them. And they're waiting for opportunity, like I'm saying right here as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it'll come. I'm pretty sure after a real estate crash, we're going to just see all kinds of real estate on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too.
I'll be excited.
Yes, I will too. I might just try to buy every token to one house. There's no telling what kind of opportunity we might have later in this.
Yeah. The one that collateralizes it, that one's interesting too, because I think tax-wise it might be a better move.
Yes.
In investment-wise, like owning the house free and clear, having no mortgage on it. Like there's good debt and there's bad debt. Generally speaking, a mortgage is not, I would consider bad debt, but think of it this way: if you had a mortgage and you had an investment property, your rate of return is relatively low because it's only the differential between what you're paying interest and what you're getting in rent. But if we own it free and clear, then you don't have to pay the interest on the mortgage. And if it's an algo and you're collateralizing that, at least for the next 4 months, you're getting 5.75% payback on the algorand that you took as the investment. So I think it's almost like staking, right, at that point in time. And then who's to say Lofty won't take that algo and join the governance?
That is true. I didn't think about that.
So they may be collecting on it from multiple angles, right?
The fact that they're taking in equity or liquidity that's actually going to be able to grow in value instead of decrease in value. Mm-hmm. And then instead of selling us essentially assets that actually sometimes grow in value, I feel like this is a better move and probably a more stable, a way more stable real estate market in a way.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, they might move in syncrasy. Yeah.
Well, I think they're getting away with that right now. I think there's a lot of larger investors who are really watching this and trying to figure out, like, hey, how volatile is that? What's the risk appetite? Because if I'm a big hedge fund or an investment vehicle, I'm watching that and wondering, like, okay, so they have all of this on their books. I mean, we've seen Elon Musk's net worth fluctuate a ton, right, because of all the Bitcoin he held through Tesla. What's going to happen to a little podunk, a property management company out of Knoxville or someplace? It's got 2 or 3 properties, where they got $400,000 in algo sitting there. So it's really just a small test case. But if Algorand steadily increases, at some point stabilizes, I think you'll see more of that. Not that I want the algo to be a stable coin by any means. I want it to increase tenfold, but at some point I think that it'll draw more attention because of that.
Yeah, I agree as well, and we'll just have to see naturally, how it all essentially interacts with each other.
Yeah.
But I feel like using crypto for real estate, well, I ended up making the real estate market way more healthier,
Hmm.
and just in the
And
long run.
I do worry
it'll
about
help
that
out.
security stuff. I know we were going to research some what is it, quantum computer, being proactive against that, right?
Yeah, yes. You talk about like the essentially post quantum cryptography.
Yes. I don't know a whole lot about
Yes.
that, but I know that you two, and I think somebody else who joined on here is kind of maybe a subject matter expert, or at least can dive into that some, because I'm curious about that a bunch.
Well, it's essentially lattice, and that is something that Chris Packard, the
Hmm.
head of our development for Algorand,
Hmm.
I imagine it's something that's going to come after all this pipelining for 46K. And right now, you can tell that's their main focus. And it's something Chris actually mentioned last week. He goes, they usually don't mention something unless they're pretty confident in it. And the
Yeah.
fact that they're talking about it now means they got some things like obviously in the works right now.
Hmm. Yeah, they seem to be pretty tight-lipped, right? There's not a whole lot of hype. They don't release stuff. They don't do that whole Tron thing where they make an announcement about an announcement that's coming, and then delay the announcement, and then tease it again. You know what I mean? Like Algorand
Yeah.
is pretty much just like, okay, what you see is what you get.
But the fact that we're actually even though it may be like in my mind, there ain't no telling. It could be half a decade, could be a decade, could even be 2 decades before they actually maybe even get it fully functional to where they're confident in it. You know what I'm saying? But there's no telling because I'm not behind the scenes with them. But the
Hmm.
implications behind it will definitely make it the most secure network ever because no one
Hmm.
else is working on that. No one.
That's
And
why it's honestly why I'm invested in Algorand. Period. Full stop. Um, Basically, like quantum computing to scale could break every 64-bit encryption that currently exists, which is Bitcoin and really any other blockchain. But yeah, lattice-based cryptography is basically there's a lot of science behind it. There's a lot of math that goes into how that works. I don't understand lattice-based cryptography, but my understanding, at least, of it is that it like counter simulates. I'm not even going to begin to talk about it. But I
yeah,
would
I know
like
what you
to.
mean. Yeah.
But I would like to give, like, if I could, just a dumbed down version of like how a quantum computer works, if folks are interested in that.
I think they would love to hear that.
Uh, yeah.
So essentially they can take matter and electrons specifically, and anything that they're able to. So they've created these pieces of matter using electrons called a qubit, and those qubits naturally can be spun up or spun down. And when it's spun up, essentially it reads as a 1, and spun down, it essentially reads as a 0. The same way a desktop computer would work, right? So ones and zeros. The third variable that it could also be, where it differs from classic computing, is it can also be in a superposition. So essentially, a superposition is neither 1 nor 0. And when you're able to get enough qubits in superposition via quantum entanglement, so no one's really sure how quantum entanglement really works, but it allows you to amplify the effect or the calculating power of a qubit. So essentially what they're doing is right now they're trying to get enough qubits entangled and in superposition to run very, very complex algorithms. So where a computer can run 64 bits, and these are deciding those on an individual qubit. Let's see how many bits are in a qubit. It's let me find that for you. But essentially, it gives a lot more processing power to an individual qubit, which opens a bunch more computing possibilities. So you can ask a question and essentially have every possible answer calculated. And then at the end of that calculation, it's going to either rotate up or down on the right answer. And that's going to produce the answer. And it's the only application that they have it in now is really like material sciences, like personal computing, or like, I don't know, running encryption on quantum computers. That doesn't exist. So we're years out, but it's exciting that Algorand's even thinking about the impact of quantum computing, because it'll break encryption if they're not. And so if they really want to stay the long course, this is what they need to be thinking about, and it's encouraging to see they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly. And with quantum computing, I mean, like, if you look out, there's I'm not sure if you guys saw this too recently, but there was a second Silk Road wallet that was found around like December or something like that. And somehow the government was able to find it. Not only find it, they were able to crack it and unlock the wallet. To this day, I don't know how
there's only
they did
one
that.
way. There's only one way.
Exactly. And with IBM and Google being so confident in both of their quantum computers that they've been building right now, I just wonder which one is, they may have, this is all tinfoil speculation hat right here. But I wonder which one, if they did use that to get into that second Silk Road wallet.
There's actually, I shouldn't say there's one way, right? There's probably three ways. Could they have something operational quantum? Sure, that's one. Another one is brute force, which like could take 1,000,000 years and good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And the final way I could think about would be like a kernel, like a 0-day exploit.
That's about it. Or unless, like, Ross gave it to them, which I
Sure.
doubt it. But I really doubt it. Especially as long as they kept that man in jail. But it's just interesting that happened, and I'm just thinking, like, how. And the first thing that came to mind, I'm like, did they use a quantum computer? Because like, unless they're like, working with the miners in some way that we don't know, that's about the only real way, in my opinion, is that an actual quantum computer was actually used. Maybe a low grade one that can't really handle too much work, maybe overload the power. There ain't no telling. But they cracked open a Silk Road wallet on the Bitcoin network, which is mind-boggling to me.
Mm-hmm. That is a little mind-boggling, isn't it? What about so what if like, let's talk about correlation to the mothership, right? Correlation to Bitcoin. So if something like that were to happen, or if Bitcoin dwindles in popularity, at what point in time is Algorand fine on its own without Bitcoin or Ethereum, kind of being the pace car?
Well,
when people realize, I was just going to say, when people realize there's alternative use cases than store of value, or whatever you want to call the new asset class that is what they're calling Bitcoin, right? I think so many people that invest in this space aren't doing it for the I guess all the potential use cases it enables. They're just thinking low-hanging fruit, which is, we've got this broken, I'm going to project and speak as an American, but we've got this broken economic system. You can see that our stock market, look what's happening with GME and AMC, and that is global. And so it gives people this fervor for utilizing cryptocurrency as a hedge against that. But that's not even the most lucrative use case of blockchain or digital currency. I mean, I constantly talk about it, but derivatives and securities and the logistics impacts of blockchain, like those are the breadwinners. So right now, you know, Bitcoin's got a ceiling in my mind, and Algorand has none, because once you're able to use Algorand as a store of value, and conduct transactions, and invest in securities and other derivatives, and be able to offer your own DeFi, like, why do you need Bitcoin anymore?
That's a good way to put it. And then not only that, recently Gary Gessler did a poll on Twitter. He had two options. He goes, "What do you think is more important, naked shorts or crypto regulations?" And guess which one had this huge vote margin over the other? It was definitely naked shorts. It was not
Those are
crypto
very
regulations. And
It's encouraging.
and then you look at that and you think that with the power of Algorand, we wouldn't have to worry about the SEC coming in here controlling naked shorts one bit at all. The blockchain would just handle everything at all. And when you start
And
thinking of powers like that,
yeah, I love the market FUD. Like, I love when folks, I don't know, I'll turn on like CNBC every once in a while, and they're only showing proof of work coins on their channel. Like, they're not talking about any of the Osprey will get on there and drop a name every once in a while. If you look at their sponsors are like Grayscale, and they're investing in the proof of stake coins. Osprey's on there. The people actually, I don't know. I think there's a lot of FUD going around to generally make the market feel a little more scary than it is, and that's because you have bad actors in the market. So if you're going out and like go invest in your cummies, like, and you get rugged, I'm sorry about that. Like, that should probably be regulated. But the talk about regulation in the space, I think, is to our advantage, because if you know what you hold, that's all going to be lumped together as crypto, and when it finally emerges, it's going to be proof of stake that's the champion. And I don't know if people don't see it, or if people just are trying to make a quick buck, because the growth is insane on some of these things. Like, I don't fully grasp it, but maybe I'm too conservative in like my investment strategy. But
well, I mean, like the only like proof of work coin I'm personally invested in right now is Monero, and that's just because it actually does give you
and they
some
have
kind
no
of
clue that exists. Like,
yeah, and well, that's kind of the point of it. But Monero's the only like proof of work coin I own, because it actually has real utility besides like a store of wealth or an overpriced DeFi market. But besides, and also it ain't ruled by ASIC chips where we get bullied on the hash rate or anything like that. But that's about it. Everything else I own is proof of stake, and for good reason. It just significantly
Did we lose him?
I'm here.
Oh, we might have
I
lost
don't
him.
hear him anymore, though. Yeah.
I was curious about the like Monero's privacy model, and like a huge amount of people got into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, right, because they like that anonymity. But I think there's a balance to that comes with some of these more mainstream projects, and okay, I can look up somebody's wallet if I find out what it is, like the Yieldly stake, right? So or the Yieldly winners, right? We can look up somebody's wallet, and then there's everybody's chattering. Well, this person had 20 million Yieldly, or whatever it is. It seems suspicious. They transferred 135,000 here or there. Is there a right balance, and how much are you willing to like be public in exchange for Algorand going mainstream? What do you guys think?
I think there will be privacy solutions built on Algorand by the time that happens. Because if Algorand is to go mainstream, that's one thing that they are dedicated to, which is like evolving code. They're not like married to one code structure. Even Silvio has mentioned that privacy can't happen yet because article that
Okay.
A few of us are back, huh?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I feel like maybe it's because I'm traveling on the road and my girl's driving. Let me see if I can pass host to Ebu. Actually, it won't let me pass anything to anyone.
Oh. Let's retweet out the
Yeah.
link.
All right, I just retweeted it out.
All right, let's see if that goes.
Hey, Frida.
Hello.
Hey.
What's going on?
Glad you made it.
Yeah, you guys actually doing this at a good time. I just finished work at 6.
All right. Hopefully better day than yesterday. I saw your tweeting yesterday. It was a terrible day. Was that yesterday or the day before or something? You're like, it's terrible.
Could have been any of those.
What's
going on, guys?
I got a question just sent to me. It's okay. Here it goes. So Robbie Taylor wants to know: regulated crypto exchanges and fintech are joining NYSE, and for some investors, this is an easier way to reduce tax bases in the U.S. by participating in these markets versus crypto. Pros and cons. I guess pros and cons of crypto exchanges going with the NYSE. What's that? What's the ISIS thing? Coinbase, but what's the other one?
Well, Exodus. I think that's one thing he's also trying to talk about. Yes. Exodus is actually going to be a security token on Algo, which I'm actually excited about.
What about Backed? Backed is the other exchange, right? That's backed BAKKT or something like that. I think that's actually backed by the same owners as the New York Stock Exchange.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's exciting times, and the fact that Algorand actually gets the first like government approved security token is pretty huge, because there was others that were made, but Binance was doing it illegally without the government's consent.
Yeah. Yeah, Exodus, what was that? Series A or something, right? That they released it and used the Algorand chain with.
Yeah, I know Exodus is doing one.
Yeah.
There's a few exciting things when we talk about that. I imagine people will see some cons. Naturally, the more that happens, the more the government will be evolved into not just the security side of crypto, but definitely maybe more of the DeFi side, depending on how we can move these tokens through the networks and what if it'll be on a side chain or on mainnet. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, that's curious whether or not it's going to be a co-chain or how that's going to operate. Either way could work. I can see it working both ways, really.
It definitely could, if especially they have a bridge or something like that ready for it.
Was this the fund that was backing liquid miners for Bitcoin?
I believe that was Kudo.
Ah, okay. That I thought was really ironic. That one cracked me up because it's a fund. Hey, I want to invest in Bitcoin mining, and so they started a fund, but the fund managers raised funds and managed it on the Algorand blockchain. So the people that they're like, sure, we'll take your Bitcoin money, but we're running this ish on Algorand. And I was like, all right, the people that know.
Yes. And I don't know. We'll have to see how the security tokens work, and I think it's too early to say there would be pros and cons, because we just don't know enough what's going to happen with them and what kind of utility, or if we're just going to be able to buy it or just move it around on a separate chain, or if we're going to find different ways of leveraging these tokens through DeFi, or if they let us be able to move it into like DeFi, the more the DeFi side of Algorand, that's going to be really exciting, and there's no telling what kind of utility or collateral or what we can really use these for in the future.
Yeah, it's not so much what pros and cons are; it's what direction it takes.
Exactly, and we'll just have to see.
Do you think there's a risk of an ASA or some side project overshadowing Algorand at some point in time, and Algorand just kind of dipping into the background and getting involved in ISDA, something like that? Just because the derivative is so huge on the back end, running behind the scenes.
Well, as long as we don't have like algo pairs with some of these things, it's going to be hard for algo to grow with like our, or really develop a lot of liquidity off these ASAs that we are developing. Because it's not like we can sell our Yieldly for algo right now. It can either be Ethereum or USDT. And then you got to go through the process of depending like, oh, what sex am I using? Am I going to get like crazy taxes off of this? But with wrapped algo, that's one thing I'm excited about. We can make that kind of pair and add that back into our network without giving too much to Ethereum or too much to Tether. When we do decide to take in liquidity, and I would love to be able to sell like my Yieldly, for instance, or Tiny Man or whatever I decide to buy in the future for Algorand, not for a stable coin or a different DeFi network.
Got it. The news this week about wrapped algos on the Ethereum blockchain was pretty well received, but I'm not 100% sold on it. I think that might deteriorate some of our position. Like I don't necessarily see the benefit of being able to take some algos and put it on the Ethereum blockchain. Do you see some benefit there? Like how do you think that's going to help us grow?
I mean, I think why do that unless you're like, why utilize a wrapped algo unless your hope is to then bring it back to the Algorand ecosystem and swap it back out? So that's me glass half full. I don't know. I think it's also, if folks want to go use a wrapped algo in the ETH ecosystem, like they're gonna see how crappy that experience is versus what the experience is on Algorand. And of course, today the options aren't quite there, but like we just said it, AlgoDex, TinyMan, Yieldly, like it's growing. There's a lot coming online. So I don't know. Maybe it's an opportunity for Algo to show up ETH, but I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that yet. I would rather that be a one-way door. Like, okay, you can bring your ETH over here, but then it's difficult to send it back over. That's my philosophy on it. I'm not sold on us, growing our market share that way. I'm not sure what the benefit is yet.
Yeah, with you.
Well, it just depends on, like how much DeFi we could build and how reliable of what kind of DeFi we're going to be able to build. And just the fact that we can use our algo and maybe help develop more liquidity for these ASAs on the Ethereum chain until we get like TinyMan and, like you said, these other projects up and running. I feel like it's just a way to kind of get that, like, it's when I've been helping all my people, like in my Telegram, for instance, a lot of people don't understand how to work the DeFi aspect on DeFi, just because they've been Algorand holders, that they didn't really go to Ethereum or anything else. They haven't really used DeFi beforehand, and I feel like like you said, if anything, it'll be a good learning tool for some of these people that really haven't really dipped their toes in DeFi yet, or don't know how to provide liquidity on Uniswap or something like that. Like I was showing my chat because I provide like a Yieldy USDC pair for quite a while when it was like around 0.9% to a penny. And I was keeping it in a really tight range on Uni V3, and I was making like $300 a day just from fees, and still pulling all my liquidity out and losing none of it. And there's going to be ways for us to use that, and especially now that we can actually help develop more liquidity on Algo, at least on a DeFi more perspective, not just Yieldly on there, But like I said, when TinyMan goes, I feel like that thing will dry up fast. Or, another DEX or just a better automated market maker we could have it working on that's on our network. But for now, this is good until we can get all those other things running. I mean, the AVM just came up recently, So this is a good way just to kind of get people on learning. Maybe an expensive way of learning, but learning nevertheless.
It's a good ramp, right? Like we're Algorand ecosystem's fairly new versus some other projects that may have something more built up, whether that's ETH, DOT, Solana. Like Algorand's relatively new, but I think it's harder to go from if your first experience is on Algorand, it's tough to go backwards. So you're kind of learning with what comes out in the ecosystem, and it's almost like it's almost like training wheels, to get caught up to speed to compared to what some of the other platforms are doing.
Exactly, and I feel like this is just more like great learning tools for some of our people that never really experienced DeFi, really. Because like I said, I've met so many people that have only held Algo and have never used any other platform in their life because they're just that hardcore of an Algo holder, or they've just really never really dabbled in DeFi. The fact that we can actually use it, even though it's not our DeFi yet, like I said, these would be some great learning tools for some people on there. And
yeah, maybe some new opportunities, right?
Exactly. And maybe a way for us to siphon some money off these other networks as well, too, and bring it to ours. I mean, if we're building liquidity over here on Uniswap, and also I got let's say 10,000, I started off with 2,000, I've built it all the way up to 10,000, on Ethereum, and the minute TinyMan comes out, you think I'm going to leave that 10 grand I made on Ethereum? No, boy, I'm going to use that bridge and bring it over and bring it back to my network. And it's going to be a great way for us to siphon a lot of money off other networks.
Yeah, because otherwise, why use the wrapped algo? Why not just convert to ETH or whatever you need to use to stake? Like, I think the intentions of it is to go play, get yield, and bring it back to the ecosystem, or my hope.
And not only that, you're going to be able to earn your algo interest on that Ethereum with that wrapped algo as well, too. It's not like you're going to swap it over and kind of like how Yieldly is right now. Like when it's the wrapped Yieldly, you're not earning any of that interest because it's not working on their platform. But the way Sacred DAO have developed that wrapped algo, you'll be able to passively earn your new algos that you're earning from holding just because they're on the Ethereum network. And I feel like that's going to help develop a lot of liquidity for us as well too, especially since people have to lock up their ETH for so long right now just to earn some interest.
Hey, when we restarted, Ibu lost speaker privileges. We gotta get him back up here.
Tell him to request. I got him.
There we go. Did anybody attend the? Anybody in NYC? Anybody go to that meetup that happened? Any of the listeners or anybody online? Ibu, you're there, right? Oh, he's still not speaking.
No, he missed it. I saw him comment.
Yeah.
I also missed it.
How did you live in New York? Why'd you miss it?
I know. I work full time. It's crazy. I'm like a slave to my job, but it's crazy. But I saw pictures. I saw that it was amazing. Hopefully, we could do another one.
Yes, maybe one in the south. Wink, wink.
He said he's requesting.
But
right. we should definitely do more of those. I feel like we should have like some kind of a structure or some kind of like an ALGOFAM like meetup group that just has like a rotating, you know what I mean? Like holder based community session.
Fame. Gotta tie into Fame. Yep.
Yeah. Where's Bilal? Bilal said he was gonna try and join in. Yeah. I mean, I like this. This is great. Like, we decided, hey, we're going to meet once a week, and we had some topics ahead of time. We're like, okay, we're going to talk about, quantum, post-quantum cryptography. We're going to talk about tribalism. We're going to talk about, the folks that get in silos, and what you miss out on or what you gain by that. I like these sessions, but I feel like, hey, some point in time we got to have we could get a little more organized than what we do right now, even.
Yeah, I mean, it'll evolve over time, just like anything. And I mean, the fact that we're even doing this is just help driving more, community learning, just community togetherness. Period. I imagine as we get older, and I think Coin Trade's one of my favorite YouTubers that actually cover algo a lot. He always says when algo hits $100, we're having a huge party in Dubai.
Yeah, definitely. I'll attend that one.
Yeah. And what was it? Dubai 2023 or something, I think was the hashtag, right?
Yeah, Dubai 2030.
2030.
2030. Okay. Yeah, 2030 when we're at full supply.
But
I am back. Came back.
But
there we go.
Definitely. I just want to put it out there. It's definitely a pleasure to speak with not gonna make it.
Thank you.
Right.
I just do that for the haters. I let my temper get the best of me sometimes on the internet. So I feel like
Speaking of some haters, you must have had somebody teed off on you like when you were in Mexico.
Great entertainment.
Yeah.
I've been in this trader group for a while since there's a few people in there. I still keep real good close touch. I actually rage quit it the other day, and someone said something about politics, and I thought, like, hey, I'm not going to say what on here because I don't know what people believe, but I gave my opinion. And then they got mad when I hit them with some big brain stuff, and then they started calling Yieldly and Algo. They started saying Algo's centralized and Yieldly's a scam. And then and I go, how's Algo centralized? And then they just kept saying some stuff, and they never said anything about how it's centralized. I go, that's great, but you're dodging questions. How's Algo centralized? And then
there's gonna be haters always trying to dodge the truth out here.
And then after that, they I just blocked both of them, and then I quit the group, and then the dude hopped on his alt account to tag me about a terms and service agreement for a clawback of all things. And I just said, all right, dude, let's get you straight real fast, and then you'll block me one more time we're done. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh, shit. What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
There
Still
but
down
are.
in Mexico?
no, I literally I flew in, got out of customs, and started the space.
Oh wow.
It's commitment right there. Yes.
Dedication, yeah.
Some questions I get
Yeah,
online,
man.
and let me get the feedback from the group here. So, how do you easily explain the difference between Algorand and the Algorand Foundation? Because I get a lot of questions on this.
That's a
People are like,
very
well,
good question.
how
I
come
can
there are two?
explain.
Why is it scamming? Why are they trying to rob Peter to pay Paul? And I'm like, no, here's the deal. But I want to hear your take on it. So,
I mean,
Well, go
yeah,
ahead. I'll go last.
I can just explain quickly that Algorand in Boston do the business side of it. Algorand Foundation in Singapore do the math and tokenomics side of it. At least, like, that's what's the general message I always get from people who I
You're right.
ask. So Algorand in Boston are focused on building tech and also focused on marketing the product and bringing it to the mainstream because the product's made. Like Algorand is made, so they just need to. The foundation actually has most of the funding, and they distribute that, and they're focused on the building of the ecosystem. So one's like they focus on different ecosystems. I think the foundation's more about like the grassroots developers, and Algorand themselves are more about like American finance.
That's a good way of putting it, to be honest.
yeah.
I like that.
I was gonna say, Priya, did you have something else to chime in with that?
Me?
Yeah.
I actually had the same question, believe it or not. I'm not really so familiar with this aspect, but I was curious myself of why there was two Twitter accounts and why one is verified and one isn't, and why they're having such a hard time to verify Algorand. It baffles me
Yeah.
sometimes.
Right. At this point, one of us is gonna get verified before Algorand.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, I saw Kelly's post, and she says it's because like their email don't match or something.
That's
Yeah.
messed up.
And
That's not a valid excuse.
I know, like, I'm like, how does Cum Rocket get
This is a
verified
$3
before
billion
Algo?
like what are you talking?
I guess it's just
Some
like the
kind of
people
politics.
speak. The people speak and the majority rules, but at the end of the day, I feel like people are just ignoring the fact of the fundamentalisms of Algorand. And at the end, people are going to have to realize upon themselves, because that's how I stumbled upon Algorand, by its fast and swift technology, because at the end of the day, that's what everybody's looking for in one point or another. And now that Yieldly's on Algorand, it's like a double decker. It's like I've never loved Algorand so much. I'm really enjoying claiming my rewards.
I mean, like, Yuli was a good way of showing how really early people really are,
Exactly.
especially on the DeFi side.
Yeah, I mean,
We are so
the
early.
APY is
And
great.
I love that we're so early, because I always wanted to be early to a project, and now I finally have the chance to do something that I love at the same time.
Well, it's not always cool to be early. I mean, I've been early to a party before, and that wasn't cool. I'm just saying. I'm just joking aside, but no, I get what you're saying, and that's just showing how growing our ecosystem is. But we're going to have so much other opportunities besides Yieldly. We're going to have Tiny Man, we're going to have the Algo Dex, Algo Mint, and Opulus. The list goes on. Chris's Anthill DAO is going to be beyond exciting to see what launch pads on there.
Definitely. And I'm really excited for AlgoDex myself, being a creator of a token, because, that's definitely going to push trading in the ASAs and to give value to a lot of coins. And once that happens, I feel like there's going to be a lot of recognition, and a lot of people are going to start to make coins themselves to trade on AlgoDex.
Well, can I ask you, like, what is the use case of your coin?
So my use case of my coin, I originally made it as a form of how would you put it, as a form of recognition to the Algorand blockchain, to show how fast it was. And well, at first I had a lot of people requesting that I made a coin for my followers, so that's one of the reasons of why I named it after myself. But I'm actually working on an inside project that you people would be the first to know about it on this live. But yeah, my inside project is now going to be with the coin that I'd like to be trading with monetary value as well. And that use case is going to be a surprise.
All right.
But FJS in itself is,
It's a
Surprise.
yeah,
tease right there. Okay.
Bum, 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 bum.
yeah.
So
No,
can
but
I
I have, yeah.
opine? Like, so it's, I think the power is this gives community tokens a platform to, or communities, I guess, a platform to, sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Would I get, can I get some mutes? Thank you, thank you. I think it might, thank you, Crypto. Um, I think the power of like the decks coming out and specifically community based tokens. The pseudonymous economy in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be, it's going to pick up. You know, working on working and getting paid on behalf of a pseudonym. And so I see something like FJS, and right now it may be a community-based token where your followers are like, we want something that represents our commitment to the community, but
Exactly.
you're going to have market makers that are out there on AlgoDex, on TinyMan, wherever it's available. Um, Whether that's for the sake of the community and investment in the community and growing what the value of an FJS is, or
Exactly.
to make their own money, right? To take a hold of something and try to make some money on something they hold. Like this is gonna happen, and that's the power of it.
And the power of Algorand is that you can make a community-based coin and you're able to add monetary value like Yieldly. But the thing is that I actually made a couple of mistakes when I did FJ.
It'd be like that. I mean, with anything, there's a learning experience, but
Sorry guys,
kind of like how
I just
philosopher.
got a phone call. Sorry, what'd you say?
Go do what
You
you gotta
guys
do.
got cut off. No. I'm with you.
It's all,
You cut off.
but I mean, with
I'm with you.
the building, but monetize nostalgia right now is kind of like Pokemon. Like when I first started buying them when I was like 10 or 12, they were only worth like a couple bucks either. You got a first edition Charizard, maybe $50. You know what I'm saying? Now you get a first edition Charizard, it's worth, beyond thousands of dollars right now. And that really, it's just a nostalgia. Like, oh, show my little piece I was there in the past. But any subjects you guys want to talk about? Does anyone in here have any questions? They want to ask
Um,
us.
wait. Sorry guys, I'm having terrible connection. Is anybody else having bad connection?
Yeah, you're kind of fading in and out on me. I just got a
Uh,
question sent over to me. It was, do you see an avenue for Algorand DeFi to support real-world applications that could help people with little or no bank balance? I assume we're talking about like the unbanked.
Yeah, didn't I just see them selling
Yeah.
a house and a bunch of parts the other day on Algo?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Fractional ownership. No doubt about it. And I think
Flex
as low as like
TX.
$5 increments. Yeah.
Exactly.
well, I mean, with
Flex
Securitas,
TX.
we're going to be able to do
Flex Fin.
credit-based loans, and that's going to be pretty huge, especially once we can
I
do credit-based loans, because there's nothing on DeFi that does all collateral based.
Who was that was talking about Flex?
I was just saying FlexFin TX I think is like an interesting project. It's not fully, I mean, if we're talking about the unbanked, that I think all starts with self-sovereign IDs, and FlexFin TX is doing that for sub-Saharan Africa, and that is the coolest project. You think like we've got Cardano on our blockchain with this, so I'm really pumped about it. I think it's a really cool opportunity for Algorand.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Charles and Sean hanging out, and it's been kind of cool. Even like Sean's profile picture is a picture course at his ranch. So I wonder what kind of collaboration we're going to see with Algo and Cardano in the future.
I think there's some cool opportunities there in that same space. Like you could have your entire medical history as an NFT, essentially, right? Or your own blockchain of medical history, or your maybe voting record, or chain of title for ownership for something. Family heirlooms, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, can I extrapolate that a bit further, if you don't mind? Like,
Yeah,
imagine going somewhere and purchasing somewhere. Let's say you've just bought a really cool, I don't know, pair of pants, and they fit you perfectly. Like, eventually, the specification of those pants will come with a digital identity. And that will all be backed up on blockchain as well. So the next time you go to the store, you can pull out certain aspects of those. And I'm just using pants. It could be anything you purchase. You're going to have digital duplicates of everything. The grandest purpose of blockchain is to tie the physical world with the digital world. And so imagine being able to have just certain aspects that are tailored specifically to you, and those are going to be with converging technology, with cloud and API and AI, you're going to be essentially offered tailored services just to you, and it's just going to use the blockchain to keep record of the latest purchase you made, the latest specifications of that purchase, and then you'll be able to use that across wherever. And I think that has major. I think that's super promising that we're starting to see the early rounds of that.
Yeah, I think that you're right. The very early rounds, just like the precursor right now, we're kind of taking a look at. There's so many applications there. It really is mind-boggling. There's so many avenues that we can walk down. That's why there's 700 some odd projects building on Algorand right now. Not to mention some of the other ones that are building bridges between here and Solano, or what's the other one I saw? Yieldly's building a bridge with Polkadot too, right?
Binance.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just saw Zestbloom's on here, AlgoFam. We got involved in a conversation the other day with the team from Acon, I think, and they were talking about how they were in conversations with Algorand to get some standardization, some protocols around NFTs on Algorand, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know if we make him a speaker or not, but I want to get his take on that. Did it cut out?
No, you're good.
I think I heard him. Did he? Someone said hello.
No,
Yeah.
he's still a
Was I the only
listener,
one
I
who heard
believe.
that?
Oh.
Yeah, let's bring him up, please.
Can you request, or? Oh, shoot, we might lose the space again. Cody got knocked off, and I think he was hosting the space.
Are you sure? He seems to still be here for me.
He just sent me a message that he can't hear any of us. I don't know. We'll see. All right, well, I'm not the host, so I can't make anybody. Oh, and Alex is here, too. All right. Well, we see you there. I just can't make you a speaker. Ebo, did he transfer off of hosting duties? Was he able to do that?
No, I wish, but I don't have the ability.
Got it.
I'm a mere mortal like you. We just need him to come back, or we can, oh, connection was lost. It's pretty evident that the Spaces tech is pretty new.
Yeah.
These connections are not really reliable.
All right. Well, I'm still digging it. All right. Well, while there's a few of us on there, Frida, can you still hear us? Maybe.
Hello?
Is that Frida?
Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. We got a few people back. All right. Frida, I was going to ask you, about your
Yes.
method of growing community, because I know that you do a lot of giveaways, and you do like a lot of like you post a lot, and I enjoy seeing them, and I think it's fun, and I love the energy. Would you recommend that to like build a community in general? Like, could we extrapolate what you do for the greater Algorand community?
Oh wow, sure. Honestly, I've never been asked this question, but a lot of people do ask me, why I do what I do, and a lot of people think that I'm affiliated with Algorand itself, which I'm not. I just do it out of purely the love that I have for Algo. In reference to the tweets that I do, I try to keep everybody alive in this bear market, and I try to bring recognition to Algo. And I believe that each time a person wins the giveaway, it shows them how quick Algo really is, because without fail, each person always DMs me, wow, that was so fast. Like, it's either I'm really fast or Algo's really fast, but whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. But
Oh, now I lost her.
It was just muted in replay.
I hear what she's saying, though. It is fun to just send somebody a random ASA and just
no, but in the reference,
have them be like, "Wow, this is really legit."
and there's a lot of questions that I've been getting in reference of FJS that I did want to answer. In reference of the coin in itself, the use case is generally to bring recognition to the Algorand blockchain. I know that there are a lot of different ASAs that are being created at the same time, but I feel like a community is very important to have behind that ASA, because there's just random people creating it in their basement without that community, and that's what's missing. The family behind it, the essential feeling of that you're a part of something.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Yeah, that ownership, like you're part of it, that inclusiveness. I love that.
Inclusiveness, exactly, because at the end of the day, Algorand's a huge community, but I feel like everybody feels recognized in their own way, and I feel like that's special, because if you do hashtag Doge, how many people are going to be responding to you? Like, you're getting lost in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just my take on it. Maybe if you have any other specific question, I can dive in deeper.
No, that was good. I love it. And we all kind of have our own way of kind of getting the message out. I'll go HQ, Ibu, you do a bunch of TikTok stuff that I love.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. On my page, I just decided to not speak about the price of Algo, because I find that just to be a little repetitive, and like we all know the price. It's like if we're interested in it, the price.
Yeah.
So it's way more about like how can people learn about this thing in a deeper way, and like also just have a place where they can come to like my page on Twitter and just get into a discussion. Like that's useful too. Like if I just spread news and let people talk, like that's more important to me. There was just, I feel, nobody really like giving that information in like an accessible way.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people don't even know what like Algorand is in itself, and I like your TikToks a lot. I feel like they're very informative for people that are new to the ecosystem.
Yeah, thanks. Like that's why I do it, just for those kind of people.
How do you?
I started it for my friends.
How do you target folks? Like, do you ever feel like you're hitting the social media algorithm? Like you're only hitting people into Algorand? Like, how do you target folks either outside of crypto altogether, or maybe accessing different blockchains right now on social?
People outside of crypto will come to crypto when the time is right. Like you can't force them to, because they'll just never understand it or never like it. You really gotta. People just do things in their own time, like get into finance. But when it comes to getting people from other chains, like my Twitter page has been getting more traction with XRP people, and I think that it just comes down to what is Algo offering that their project isn't. They get a little interested, use intelligent use of hashtags, cash tags, timing, like talk to different people and just I don't know. It's just about being genuine. Also, like putting on an act. It's so boring. Like everyone can see through the act, you know. So I really like the technology and I like the community too. You know, Alex was my first interview, and just like ever since then, everyone's a very nice person, and I like that. So I just want to give people a place to discuss and um, funny enough, centralize in this decentralized system. Like if we're all decentralized financially, we can centralize it in a social way.
I like that.
And that's my little thing. So yeah, when it comes to hitting, how do I hit people in other communities? It's just being more vocal than them. Like most people on Twitter, in crypto Twitter, are anonymous. So when you actually have a face, like people kind of gravitate toward
Exactly. That's exactly
Well said.
why I do what I do. And I'm my own person. You know, there's a lot of people that are not genuine, and I feel like people will take you more seriously as a person in whatever you say.
that. Exactly. That's no hate to anonymous people.
No,
Like
of
everyone has their
course. Yeah,
reasons.
no.
But
No, just in general. But I love, what do you mean? My best friend was Bobby Heels and he disappeared, but he was anonymous too.
well, that's kind of the thing about anonymous people. They can disappear out of nowhere.
Exactly.
So that's why it's harder to trust them.
For sure. For sure.
But at the same time, yeah, like no, everyone has their reasons, anon or not anon, and that's the internet. I wish we had more anonymity on blockchains because they like I think Phil was talking about it before about the Bitcoin wallet that got hacked, or Cody talked about that.
Yeah, Cody brought it up.
Is he still gone? So what interviews would y'all like to see if there was a project that you'd want to hear from somebody? Anybody have any like opinions on that? Who do you want to hear
I
from?
have somebody.
Okay.
So there's actually a new project that's being built on the Algo blockchain. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, but it's, the letters are IODO. His name is Sean, and he's working on it. It's a charity giving ASA, and I think it would be pretty cool if people could find out more about it and how the charity is being generated into the coin itself.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely look into it.
I can send you his like his Twitter if you want.
No, I'm on the Twitter now. Did you hear about the charity coin Save the Kids? That was a total scam?
No, I didn't. That was on the Algo blockchain too?
No, it was on Binance.
Oh shit.
So basically they got all these influencers online, crypto people, FaZe Clan, which is like a Call of Duty influencer type of, thing. They used to do YouTube videos, and they promoted this token called Save the Kids, and then basically turned out to be a total scam.
Oh shit.
And it was, with charity in mind. So I find that, like, I'll look into IOTA coin.
No, but I totally hear what you're saying. But I know this guy personally. Not personally, but I met him through Twitter, but I've spoken to him other than Twitter. And I think that he's a very, very genuine guy who just really wants to create something in a different way. Because when I was creating my different ASA, and the number one question is, what's the number one question when you're creating something? It's what's going to make my coin different than anybody else's? Why are you going to want FJS versus Yieldly or Fame, or like what's so special about it? So I guess
those are not the same.
no, of course they're all different in each way. Like, but each coin has its own use case, and each one has its own circle that it attracts people from. So I guess he took charity as a part of, to be different from any other coin, because you don't really see coins like that nowadays that generate some money into charity, I feel. But I feel like it's
yeah, I mean, because who's the one that's going to donate it to the charity? Like, it would have to be done through smart contract.
Yeah, so he has a white
if it was
paper.
Going to be,
he has a white paper, I know. I know that he
Okay.
has a white paper going on. He has developers that are working on smart contracts. I don't know so much about it, but you can definitely. I mean, I don't blame you for wanting to know more about it because nowadays,
Yeah. Hey.
there's people that are saying one thing and they're doing another. I see giveaways like all the time. I crack up when I see like retweet and like for $500 or $200. Like all these people are such sketchers. Like I'm not trying to be like whatever, but I think our ALGOFAM is the most genuine family and giveaways. Like we don't play the system like that. I feel like we're very honest
I
people.
see. I see. I
That's
see.
how at least I see us as a family. I think that we're more honest and genuine. But every community has its bad
Um.
apples.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we don't have the power to make anybody else a speaker right now. Any of the speakers right now want to say any last words?
Yeah, I agree with Frida. Like the community is as authentic as they come, and I've been involved in quite a few different crypto communities, quite frankly, over the last 3.5-4 years. PayScript did one of those retweets, and you can win some X amount of whatever it was. I forget what it was, and somebody accused him of being a scammer or something like that. But it just ends up that they weren't following each other, so like you had to go in and like accept the DM. You know how that is? Like you got to go like into a
Yeah,
separate
yeah,
spot,
yeah.
like the DM doesn't come through. But they followed through, and like the whole thing kind of like played out real time, like over Twitter. But I love it when those things they follow through and it's authentic and you can tell, okay, these folks came through, and then like it all is well that ends well. I hate seeing those those scam stories like you were just talking about. The potato coin folks, like some people were mad at me. I met with the potato coin founder, and they're like, man, what if he's not really giving potatoes out? and I was like, I don't know, I'm not there checking on the potatoes, but it seems pretty legit to me. The potato coin's not going to make anybody rich. So,
No, for
you
sure.
know,
There are some people with hearts out there. I know it's hard to think about it, but there are some good people out there. And yeah, definitely. I had the opportunity when I was creating my new coin. I'm like, what should I do to make my coin different than any other coin? Should I do a portion for charity? But I didn't end up doing that. What I really wanted to do is this is an amazing idea. If anybody wants to carry out with it, if they have knowledge of smart contracts and how to do it. But I think that we need to make another coin like Eodly on the Algorand blockchain that can be stakeable with a high percentage. And I think that's what's going to draw a lot of people to Algo because that's what people want right now in a bear market. They want passive income. That's what
I
it
see a lot of
is.
movement around the passive income. There's that guy, Passive Income Network or something like that, who's big on Algorand. Hey, I just noticed we got Algodex and Zesploom put as speakers now, and I had a question about NFTs earlier, and it was Zest. I think you and I we got into it with I want to say it was Acon or somebody about Algorand coming up with protocols and rules and definitions for NFTs on the blockchain. Did that go anywhere?
Hi. Yeah, hi, this is Ryan. So I missed your question earlier. I wasn't yet at the microphone, but yeah, that's true. So I don't know where that conversation is happening, but it did kind of prompt me to jump back into the Algorand official Discord where there's a NFT assets channel, and there's some good conversation going on there. Also, they mentioned the latest upgrade to the chain with the Algorand virtual machine upgrades actually enhanced the metadata available. The URL length got doubled, I believe. What was your question specifically? You were wondering where it's going, like how they're looking to standardize the metadata going on to the asset.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. What does that do to the market in general? Does that impact you? Is that a pro or a con? I mean, how do you see it as someone who deals with that daily?
It's definitely a pro. I mean, I think especially when we have different organizations allowing ASAs to be minted in different ways, There's a lot of different ways that the metadata field can be used. We have a really unique case that we're looking to use it for. But I think in general, if there's like a structure, some kind of standard JSON that describes the assets that are going on there, I think it helps us all. We're looking at ways to be able to index and search across all ASAs, looking into information that's not just any of the standard Algorand asset fields, and including other information about the data, about the media that's being attached.
There's a GitHub that has the latest of the standards for the NFTs.
Yes, we did come across that. There's some great conversations going on there.
This is very pedestrian of me and probably low priority on, Algorand's official wallet, like, punch list. But man, I really want a way to like sort all my ASAs and put my NFTs in a separate folder. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult when I log into my Algorand wallet to kind of like sort through everything that's in there. And now I got like pages of these things.
Oh, tell me about it. I have some ASCs that I'm trying to get rid of, honestly, in my opinion.